Welcome once again, folks, to No Theoretical Bias Presents. Tonight we have Eldritch Nights and Grey Days, a Tremulus horror adventure. Today's episode brought to you by Miskatonic University, home of the fighting cephalopods. Go pods! All right, so when last we met, our doty band of adventurers, no, they're not very doty. They're many things. Their resumes are many things, but they are not doty. We have Madame Etoile Ciel, professional alienist, well, professional psychic, and part-time alienist, dedicated to healing issues of the mind. We have Sister Avina Softless. The good sister was a highly trained nurse, so is the doctor in our scenario. And Tommy the Stone. That doesn't make any sense. You can't have a nickname of the. I guess you could. Tommy the Stone. He's a detective. What he does is not very nice, but he's the best at what he does. So, finding themselves in the railroad town of Ebon Eves last time, the big questions are the church, the Church of the Lord, Church of the Dogs of the Lord, a obviously straight and narrow religious organization dedicated apparently to stamping out, antisocial behavior. Um, they're church people, white shirts and bolo ties. And the mystery of Madman McGilligan, king of the hobos, who train lover, who somehow derailed a car, causing a huge explosion. The other mystery somehow involves red plant life. They call it the red grass, um, but it's not really grass. Finding out that it's some sort of fungus, and every iteration of it that pops up might be part of the same organism. So, finding themselves at the destroyed and semi-abandoned rail yards, finding evidence of the explosion, and finding evidence that whoever caused the derailment had to have died instantly in the blast, did not explain the fact that Madman McGilligan lived long enough to be uh, convicted of murder and electrocuted several months ago at the state penitentiary in Arizona. So there you are. You're in the rail yard. You're looking around for things. What, as they say, do you do?
Well, so I think when we left off, we were going. You were examining the patches, right? Tommy.
I remember I was more along the lines of, okay, I want to look at. I think we looked at the blast radius and we're like, okay, it's clearly the train. First of all, train didn't crash. Let me go over what I have written down here. Train didn't crash. Uh, McGilligan was definitely not the one who pulled the lever, because whoever pulled the lever was like gone in a second. Um, I think. Sorry, my paper got wet from last time. Tommy doesn't keep care of his notes that well, I guess. It looks like I think we were the red plants were close to the blast radius.
There seems to be Madame Etoile up in the tower can see that the blast patches where the damage was the worst seems to have a higher concentration of the red grass.
Uh, I'm gonna communicate that, yelling from the tower. Hey, interesting pattern.
Yeah. Once actually, strangely enough, there are like megaphones like the old. So if you wanted to grab one, evidently
Yeah.
yelling from the tower was business as usual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So
a quick investigation, even look around, you're like, yeah, there's more of the red stuff wherever this blast happened.
interesting.
If everybody could give me, let's see. Actually, Tommy, since you're the closest to the situation on the ground there, go ahead and give me a reason roll, my friend.
Okay. Reason.
Okay. Something that you do have in your notes, and they are unwatered, is that you got a list of people who died, um, but it strikes you that the only people who died in the original explosion, the only people who died here on the rail yard grounds, were the conductor. I'm sorry, brain, the
The
conductor
conductor, his wife.
and his wife. Um,
Mm,
um, you don't see any. Remember that residential housing that you saw on Railroad Row? All of the identical houses? There isn't any residential housing in a rail yard.
mm, okay. Yeah, I think we need to. I think Tommy's gonna look at the sister, maybe say, I think it's time we investigated. Maybe we stray away from McGilligan. Maybe we stray away from that point. Let's look at who was on the train and who died, because I think that'll be connected to your plans.
Okay. In the same way that uh, ports, ports and harbors have like a harbor master, rail yards would have a business office where where they would keep track of comings and goings of trains. That would have passenger lists. That would sometimes have cargo manifests from, should usually have cargo manifests of anything that comes through. So that might be a place to start.
Yeah, I think we should go there.
Okay, so it takes a little bit of doing, but you do find the rail master's offices. Again, windows blown out, never cleaned up. You got little patches of the red grass growing in corners and shadows. Um, but again, fairly typical office, secretary space, big files. Um, the the railmaster's office actually has north facing as opposed to southwest, so was protected from the worst of the blast. Again, the windows were still blown in, um, and you see some signs that people came around here poking around. Um, so what were you looking for?
Mm,
I think maybe anything that's like relating what was on board, because there are like reports of like manifests on uh trains and stuff like that in case they get like robbed or something like that.
Yes, yes, actually, excellent. All right, so that sounds like, and how many of you are looking around?
Does
I think
someone
all of us should meet
Yeah.
together for this part.
Okay, so your best bet, the system supports the person with the highest luck rolling. If any of you want to support said person, you can roll your trust with them to see if you can give them a bonus. However, even if they roll well, if you roll poorly, negative effects still can occur that only happen to you. So, what's your call?
I do have a
Have,
+2 trust with the sister.
I have 3 luck, so I think I should roll the luck.
That strikes me as that strikes me as very smart of you. All right. So first,
Gotta
go ahead
love
and
it.
roll that trust roll, please.
And that's just what am I
It's
just
just 2d6 and add your 2d6 and add
all
your
right.
if you have a basically if you have a +2, there you
And
go.
add 2 to that. So
Okay. Oh,
10.
add 10.
So
Beautifully. Okay. Yes. So you get huge bonuses to that. Sister, go ahead and give me your poke around roll, please. A luck roll.
what do I add to the modifier? Like, do I add a 2 or 3?
With a 10, yeah, you'd add a 2. Oh,
Ooh!
mercy,
Ooh!
complete, total, and awesome success. All right. So, you can select one of the following. You can find a good item. Good items would be, you know, well-made firearms, et cetera, et cetera. You can find a minor item of your choice. You can find a clue, or you can find a threshold or hidden area, a minor item, or a physical hazard if present.
Ooh. I think clue would be good.
Clue. Awesome. All right. So, the blast, you were looking around, you see a clipboard that the blast obviously threw behind one of these three drawer file cabinets. And it turns out to be um, a manifest. It's not entirely specific. The front page mentions whether an individual train was a freight train or a freight train, passenger train, or both. The last entry was the date of the explosion. Um, and there's a train number. I don't know if any of you have managed to pick that one up yet. But the last train that was supposed to be coming in that day was a freight train only. Um, Now, the rest of it is manifest. Since the trains are so big, um, the it's listed by it's got places for like hazardous material, and things that can't take too much roughness. Um, the page you find on that particular train says it was carrying a lot of stuff from a company called Jensen Chemical. Let me write that down here. Jensen Chemical. Um, and one of the little side notes um, says a lot of it was fertilizer. That's the only thing that stands out. Um, I mean, there was like, wood and metal and coal and all sorts of other stuff, but the only one that wasn't strictly mundane was the Jensen Chemical.
Okay. So, given that it was a chemical thing and there was probably fertilizer in it and there's some weird plants, I'm gonna guess that there was something weird about the fertilizer or something mixed with the fertilizer that absolutely like mutated the hell out of these plants.
Yes,
Also make
very
for a nice explosion.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Especially with stuff like phosphorus in it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nitrogen enriched. Don't try this at home, kids, but yeah, nitrogen enriched fertilizer is a component in or could be a component in explosives. So you've got a train that was carrying chemicals or chemical laden fertilizer. What do you do from here?
Now, did the reports did say that there was a gas cloud over the town, correct?
Yes,
In the coming days.
a well, two things happened. One, the explosion caused a fire which spread out through the section of town just north of you, um, north and east, because that's the prevailing winds. The gas cloud that was formed, um, everybody reported like respiratory issues and whatnot, um, and it hung around for a little while, not not days and days, but um, uh, indications are it was kind of hard to breathe and smoky and coffee for at least 24 to 48 hours.
And knowing that this thing is a fungus, there's no doubt that it spread via spore through the air,
Mm-hmm.
being carried by the explosion.
No theoretical bias against it. What do you do?
Mm.
Oh, by the way, mark down that you get a +1 on any roll relating to um, the information that you found here.
Do we have is there a name for the conductor or his wife or
Yes,
any information about them?
yes. His name was Bill Shumway. And the wife's name was Heather. is Tommy one of those people who like keeps newspaper clippings
I'd say
when
he
you're doing
he
your
he
your
would like now. Now he's like starting to gather. You know what I mean? Now that he's
right,
investigating, yes, he
okay,
for sure does.
okay. So you made yourself a little crime book there. So you've got newspaper articles on the explosion, the deceased, Mad McGilligan, the trial and execution. Um, so that's that so far.
Okay.
Um, gonna ask Tommy this because I don't know. He has his ear up to the ground a lot. Do you know if the conductor's any next of kin in town?
Uh, that's what I hope to find out. Do we have a phone book?
Um, well, they would have an operator that you would be able to pick up and jiggle for and ask to be connected to someone in particular. The survivor list, you know how they say, oh, Mr. Johnson was survived by blank, 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 and blank. The survivor list for both Bill and Heather is extensive. Shumway is apparently a big, 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 big family in this neck of the woods. Um, and so, yeah, so lots of cousins. Bill had at least 4 siblings. Heather had 5. Heather's maiden name was um, Gilmore. And apparently both Shumway and Gilmore are big families up around here. What do you do?
I think Tommy wants to go investigate more of like the people and go check on their families.
Um, People and families. All right. Uh, 2 things that strike you when you're in this is like the main office space for the rail. Um, one of the walls is different.
Hmm.
The interior walls. Um, when you were coming to the office, because again, there's a place to keep non-important people waiting and the secretary area and whatnot. Um, the wall closest to the interior is not normal, regular construction material from nowadays. It seems to be the same sandstone construction that the trading post was.
Interesting. Okay.
It's been painted, but it's obviously not the same construction.
So does it look like someone had built something here prior and that this is like a renovation on top of it, or that this was built at the same time?
If you had to guess, you'd say that there was a structure here that instead of tearing it down, um, they just kind of built around it.
Okay.
If you had to guess.
Tommy's checking out that wall.
Okay. Well, a, a basic investigation as you go through the various rooms and corridors. This hallway has it as a wall. You go around here, and yeah, it's apparently a smaller, squarish building, completely enclosed by the rest of the building. There's only you're looking for like anything in particular?
I'm looking for, is this building, the size of this building, does it feel like, yeah, that makes sense. This is around the same size. Are there any hidden rooms? Would there be any passageways I need to be looking for?
Good question. Go ahead and give me a poke around roll, please.
All right. And when I roll poke around, I roll reason. Methodical. Because my luck. Oh, I froze. Hello?